I call this meeting of the Tuesday, July 28th, 2026, meeting of the Currituck County Historic Preservation Commission to order at 5:32 p.m. Are there any disqualifications from any commission members or any reason you can't hear any of the cases before us tonight? All right, hearing none. I announce that we have a quorum being met of myself, Miss Barbara Snowden, and Miss Virginia Serpico. Agresti, I still go back to your maiden name. Sorry about that. Agresti. And at this time, we need a motion to approve the agenda, correct? Do we need to motion second and vote on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, so we can take.
Motion, we approve the minutes.
Qualifications?
I did.
You did?
Sorry, I always
Okay.
go fast for y'all.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you do.
So we have a motion on the approval of the agenda from Ms. Snowden. Is there a second?
A second.
A second from Ms. Agresti. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Like sign. Agenda is approved. Next up, we have the minutes, which you should have seen, but they are before you as well. If anyone would like to make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote on the minutes. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Minutes are approved. All right, unfinished business. I don't believe we have any business from last time, do we? Okay. All right, with none of that, we are here to hear the case of HPC 26-01, the Boswood Morris House requesting to designate the property as a local historic landmark. And I will turn it over to staff.
Evening. To start the framing for local landmark, just wanted to touch briefly on what is a local historic landmark. And it's an individual building, structure, site, area, or object that has either historical, architectural, archaeological, or cultural significance, and that has been recognized by official designation by the Currituck County Board of Commissioners for its importance. That said, the property must possess integrity in terms of design, setting, workmanship, materials, feeling, and association. Well, for the public and for the county, these benefits are both an honor. A landmark designation is an honor that is bestowed on the county's most significant historical properties. Another benefit is reduced property taxes. A landmark owner is eligible for an annual 50% property tax deferral for as long as the historic character of the property is maintained. To be designated as a historic local landmark, again, I spoke to it possessing these special items of significance. Let's get into the meat of HBC 2601, which is the Boswood Morris home. It sits at 4379 Currituck Highway in Barco. The property owner is Ms. Rhonda Morris. The amount of land and acreage to be designated is 2.98 acres. For a sense of framing, wanted to show the boundaries of the original property when it was left from a will upon passing in 1900. This was the original boundary of the property itself. It was a total of 123.49 acres to the east of Currituck, 40.37 acres to the west. In 1900, in the will, I think this is an important sense of framing. Edmund Baum McHorney wrote in his will, "I give the north end of my home farm containing 1/2 of the whole tract of land to my daughter, Carrie McHorney Boswood." And there we come with the initial surname for the property. The Boswoods farmed the land surrounding the house with crops, typically consisting of corn and potatoes. Mules were also used during this farming activity. And a sense of framing, previously I wanted to show the original boundaries of the property. The parcel is still, the parcel with the home is still true to itself, even though boundary lines have shifted. The property sits roughly 220 feet to the east of Currituck. This area in Barco is primarily sparse in development with a small amount of modern general business. The architectural significance of this home, this is similar to the Joseph S. Dye house that we have previously approved. This is a similar structure as an extended I house in an iteration of traditional 17th century British folk central passage types that were common in pre-railroad America, featuring an additional room behind the hall and parlor and carrying the additional rear extension on the second floor. This is a simple yet highly distinct architecture, particularly prevalent here in the Mid-Atlantic rural community. It's important to note that this picked up quite the volume of construction in the Tidewater South roughly after 1825. One thing to mention, I mentioned the parallel to the Joseph S. Dye house. Although they are of similar traditional styles, the Boswood Morris home is a much more grander scale, not just in size, but in the features that it possesses. And we'll get into some of those details quickly. The Tidewater South folk I house types originally started in pre-1700s as one room. They then expanded in each iteration growing larger in scale and size. The second iteration became hall and a parlor, then an extended hall and parlor, and then this became an I house in the sense of it had a central stairwell to gain access to the second floor. And an extended I house, which is the example of this home, is side gabled, molded cornice, and again, this is a 2-story with an attic and a front porch. Let's take a look at the facades. It's a 5-bay house. The front facade faces Currituck Highway. The home still retains its original vertically divided 2/2 double-hung windows. The central single-leaf wood panel door is topped by a 1-light transom. The house contains 3 gable-ended interior chimneys, and these with modest corbelling. The original porch was replaced with a version of the original open-style porch. Of particular note for the home is the rear elevation, which happens to face the northeast. It's the flattest elevation of the house and features the rear gable. In the rear, a 2-story rear L extends from the northeast corner. The side elevation retains its originally vertically divided 2/2 double-hung windows with 2 bays, again consistent for all windows in the home. The end chimney is not visible as it's enclosed in the structure, and it also displays slight corbelling as it protrudes through the roof line. One mention of alteration in the history and timeline of this home over time. The original porch, which extends directly, was enclosed later, not during the original construction. To speak to the integrity statement, again, it's located at 4379 Currituck Highway in Barco Township, Currituck, North Carolina. The 2.98-acre property is located on the east side of Currituck Highway. The house is positioned approximately 220 feet from the highway, in a township characterized by sparse residential development with some low-density modern commercial properties. As mentioned previously, when we looked at the facades, the house incorporates simple vernacular I-house style architecture. Continuing the integrity statement, we move to workmanship. And the exterior architectural details of the home are distinctive features of this vernacular I-house style, defined by the use, and this really has a very has a lot of gravitas, has a lot of weight for this type of homes, particularly in our area, defined by use of common materials and form with little ornamentation. And the homes of this type were built through shared knowledge, carried out through families and communities, and not by architectural blueprints, catalog, or pattern books. In speaking to materials, most of the original materials from the Boswood Morris house's original construction are still present. The original double hung windows, 2/2 and vertically divided, are still present on the home. They are covered with storm windows for protection. The balloon framing of the home is constructed with true cut lumber, that's 4x5s. And important to mention that these were sourced from within the bounds of the original property. In fact, in the still wooded area that's on the west side of Currituck Highway. The house sits on a brick pier foundation, and the roof consists of composite shingles. And last, the front porch consists of 4x4 posts with metal screening, as well as canvas awnings. The feeling of the house surrounded by farmland maintains a living reminder of the past during the present. And in speaking to association, the Boswood Morris house is associated with historic Barco as an example of traditional British folk form in Currituck County. Want to give a bit of history on the home from not just when the property was left upon passing. One of the Boswood's two children, Edna Earl Boswood, married Chester Ralph Morris in 1927. Chester Ralph Morris attended Wake Forest College, where he pursued law. He was the first in his family to attend college. However, of note, he was admitted to the bar in 1926 at the age of 21, and he decided to immediately open an office here in Currituck. He served as the county attorney for 12 years until he was elected district attorney of the 1st Judicial District. He was also the chairman of the executive committee of Currituck County for 4 years. Edna Earl Boswood took an active interest in local progressive affairs, was the organizer of the Currituck Women's Club, and the first president of the district organization of clubs. Additionally, of note, on May 1st, 1926, she served as the Elizabeth City Library's first president at its official opening. Edna and Chester Morris had one child, Earl Travis, in 1932. Earl farmed the property, and in 1973 established Currituck's first real estate company, Currituck Realty, with a structure on the parcel which is now non-existent and not of historical note. However, one of his daughters, Rhonda Morris, is the current occupant of the house. The house, cherished by the same family since the day it was built, stands as a quiet testament to the rich history of Currituck County. That said, the Boswood Morris house is being proposed for designation because of its local architectural and cultural significance in Currituck County. The house derives its primary significance from its architectural form, as it is a good example of an extended I-house, a vernacular house type endemic to the Tidewater region of North Carolina. Lastly, upon review of the staff's local landmark report by the State Historic Preservation Office, it was found the Boswood Morris house possesses the requisite special local significance and integrity for local historic landmark designation. Historic Preservation Commission and staff hopefully recommend approval of the proposed ordinance designating the Boswood Morris House as a local historic landmark. Thank you.
Thank you. Great presentation. All right, are there any questions or comments from commission members?
I was wondering, should we tag the square footage of the house in here somewhere? Because I didn't see that anywhere, unless I missed it.
Have we done that in previous? I don't remember. I don't remember if we have.
What?
If we've noted the square footage.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do y'all know if we've done that previously? I didn't.
We
I don't think-
didn't for Dye House. And it's also of note, I understand the thoroughness, but the request is not to designate the interior.
No, just to give an idea of the size of the house.
Absolutely. I understand the thoroughness, absolutely.
And then my other comment was an attic window boarded up, like, because it looks like vents were added in the gables, but is that an attic window that was boarded up?
Oh, they're in the center.
It's currently unknown.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
I mean, obviously, this has no bearing on it.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah. Oh, they're asking to speak into the mic
Oh.
for the recording.
Oh.
Oh, it's not on. May need to tap it.
The green light was on. Okay.
All right. Other questions or comments?
Just a couple questions. Why did y'all decide not to include the outbuildings? I understand figure 6, and I don't know when figure 7 was built, but I was just wondering why y'all excluded those. We seem to be doing that all the time, is we're taking the main house and we're not including the buildings that are surrounding it that influence the building. And so was there a particular reason or just?
There certainly is value to that. I think it wasn't necessarily something that Ms. Morris was keen to do.
Because if we include them, does that mean that they fall under the commission if something were to change or be altered? Is that the issue? Yeah.
Yeah, St.
Yeah.
My Barn's
Yeah.
included.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
I mean, it really doesn't look the age of the house, but it's hard to tell.
But
Can we
that
ask
way-
Rhonda a question?
Can we ask the applicant a question?
Okay. When was this outbuilding built?
Am I on?
Figure 7.
Yep.
Figures, I don't know what figure you're looking at, but you're
Okay.
talking about the smokehouse.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the smokehouse. And
Building.
the smokehouse has been covered in tin, actually. And that's
I figured
actually
that
my
much.
workshop where I make bowls and so forth.
And the other outbuilding that was not included,
I have,
That's
that would have,
where the boats
those
were.
were stables that were built by Pop.
yeah.
Chester Morris. Yeah, so the smokehouse is not, I don't know why we didn't include it, but it's, it looks kind of like this.
Okay.
Well, the figure 6, the reason I'm asking that question is where we used to keep the boats. But before the boats were kept there, what was it used for?
That's, like I say, that's what that was part of the stables for the
Okay,
horses.
that's the reason I ask you.
Yes.
Because we are cutting out a fairly significant part of the Morris family's history in the fact that Judge Morris was a nationally known horse, I guess the title is horse carriage racer. He raised the horses here, he trained them here and also in Gates County. And that is the one building that I know of that is associated with that something was going on in the county. We don't have to include it, but I think somewhere we need to at least make
I don't
some
know that it's gonna
notification
make it,
of
Barbara.
that part, because when you look at the 30s, 40s, and 50s, racing was a very important part of the recreational life of this area.
Right.
And Judge Morris and his racehorses, which I had no idea when I came into this county about it, but I was told that that was one of the things that we were known for and that I needed to go see here in the county.
Actually, I think if you look, look at a satellite picture, you will see the indent. He had a half-mile-long racetrack that was built beside that, but that's now, that's a different property. That's Wayne's property. 'Cause the property is all still the same property. It's just divided up among the children. And,
Like I say, I do not know of any other building in the county that is related to that occupation.
I have a technical question for staff on that. Since we're hearing the application now, I'm assuming we couldn't amend it even if the applicant wanted to, but if the applicant, Ms. Morris, wanted to come back at a later date and amend it to include those buildings, is that possible?
I don't know why it wouldn't be
Okay,
possible.
okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so if,
And with respect to your concern about incorporating that history into the landmark report, I think you could potentially include in your motion that the landmark report include an addendum or some sort of additional
Explaining it.
information to be incorporated when it goes to the Board of Commissioners related to the history of the raising the
Well,
horses
it can
and
be
racing
added
horses.
as an addition later. I mean, that's not a problem if we want to follow through with that. But as I said, that's the one thing that popped out at me, that was an important feature of that area that was not being covered.
Okay.
my only comments would be, I think it's a lovely example of an iHouse, very well preserved. You've put a lot of love and care into it. And I think it also retains that original sense. And I think it's unique that it's been within the same family the whole time. One just question I had reading it, and this goes back to some of the criteria for me, is and I didn't hear this, and maybe I'm not remembering this correctly, but isn't one of the criteria is if the people that lived there and if it's somebody of note, which I was thinking, Judge Morris and Edna Boswell Morris certainly were local notables. I know they wouldn't rise to the level of state, but
Actually, they would.
they would. Okay,
They
okay,
absolutely
okay.
would.
But definitely local, definitely local. So not for this property, because I certainly think this property qualifies just on the architectural merits on its own. But if something was kind of on the fence, would this be a good example of one that would qualify because of who lived there and not just the architectural significance?
Yeah, I made a point to attempt to speak both the architectural and the cultural
Yes, I
significance.
saw that, yes. Okay.
I think it would
Yes, I mean,
easily
it would-
qualify.
It would be your recommendation and
Right.
ultimately the Board of Commissioners' decision, right? Which is what we're doing right now. So, if you felt that some of these additional pieces of information need to be included in the landmark report, then with that specific feedback, we could do that. But we would need to probably bring that back to you at a subsequent meeting.
No, I thought y'all, at least for mine, I thought y'all did a good job with it. I was curious if just a local notable on their own kind of qualifies for future application. That was my question. Because I feel like this qualifies under two sets of criteria, the
sure.
architectural and
Yeah, and
the
it doesn't
local.
always, it can be one or the other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. That was my question. I feel like this one hits both of those.
And Josh, he also qualifies for the area because he was the judge there.
Right,
And
right.
the first one from our area for that.
Right.
You ready for a motion?
Any other questions? All right. If not, we'll take a motion.
I make a motion that we accept this nomination.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And with the second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. The motion passes unanimously. Congratulations.
And I'd like to speak to the House anyway. Having passed and to the cultural significance of the house and to the feeling of the house. I can't leave here without saying these things. You know, I feel the blood of my ancestors in that land, and I feel their presence in that house. When you look at the significance of Carrie Boswood, you can look back to Mother Vineyard, to the original Mother Vine in Manio. Those ancestors are in a sampler, genealogical sampler that came out of that house, that original house. My grandfather, Judge Chester Morris, like you say, the significance there, I mean, here's somebody who was best friend of the Comptroller General of the United States, and their invitations there's so many things that I have from my great-grandmother's great-grandmother's little hymnal, Episcopal hymnal, to just so many things that speak to the significance of the family who lived in that home and who came here. You know, I'm 10th generation. My great nieces, of course, are 12th generation. So it's just when people come on that property, everybody says there's something about it. There's just there's an aura, there's a feeling here about this. And I feel like we're losing a lot of our history in Currituck. And that hurts me deeply. But to preserve every little piece that we possibly can, we have to do it. And by the way, the wood is, that is heart poplar. It's made out of heart poplar from across the road from the house, which is kind of unusual. Most is heart pine. That one's made out of heart poplar. So,
No,
Anyway.
thank you for doing a great job of preserving it.
Thank you.
And pass it along to your friends and family that also have old houses, because I know you have some others in your family. So,
Chandler is thinking about it. Now,
well, that's who I was
is
thinking of. I didn't want to say that, but
on the National Register, I believe.
is it?
The front part of that house,
Yeah.
I believe, is on the National Register. If I'm not mistaken, they can't date it.
Well, you can work on him. He's who I was thinking of, but I didn't want to tell you to work on him. So, all right. Thank you. All right. Any announcements from commission members or staff? All right. Hearing none. Any public comments? All right. Hearing none. We'll take a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
All right. A motion from Ms. Snowden. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second from Ms. Agresti. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. We are adjourned.